are right now about 97% complete in terms of phase 1, the civil works.
Close to 3 years later, and the standard gauge railway is nearing completion. Let me take you on a tour of what has been termed to be a game changer in the transport sector as well as the Kenyan economy. This will be a tour in the air and on land, and we start here at the Nairobi South Terminal in Syokimau. Sophisticated engineering, high-scale metal works, the skeleton to one of the magnificent features of the SGR, the nerve center of the passenger service. This will be the passenger terminal with a capacity of 1,500, a two-floor building allowing for ticketing and clearing of travelers before proceeding to the boarding platform.
We are now starting off with the station works. Stations are under construction about 70%. Communication, electricity and signaling works are going on, also about 60%. We expect that we'll finish those in the course of February. Between February and May, we run into testing and commissioning to make sure that the whole system is working, all the equipment is working.
The Nairobi South Terminal will also serve as the nerve center of the entire project. Inside this building is the control room that will have the capacity to monitor the entire route all the way to Mombasa. Already, the systems are being installed. From these monitors, operators can locate a train at whichever point of the rail, detect faults, monitor the behavior of the train driver, and even stop the locomotive if need be. The SGR route will have 33 stations, 9 of which will be for passenger boarding and disembarking. These include Mombasa and Nairobi stations as the main ones. The control room in Syokimau is interconnected to all the 7 intermediate stations at Athi River, Emali, Kibwezi, Mtito Andei, Voi, Miasenyi and Mariakani.
Our stations are state-of-the-art stations where passengers are able to enjoy the same kind of facilities that you find in our international airports.
Obviously, because of technology, they would have to have electronic, support in terms of systems, so that as passengers come, either they have electronic tickets, or that will be very, very advanced.
A sensitive nerve center with its own electric power substation and a backup battery with the capacity to run the station for 2 months in case of a power blackout. It has also been equipped with anti-hack technologies to protect the integrity of the communication network to train stations. Outside the station are 13 rail trucks, most of them for cargo locomotives, headed to the internal container depot. The pattern depicting the potency to taking the cargo containers off the road network to the rail. The brains behind the SGR estimate that the new system has the capacity to ferry up to 22 million tons of cargo from the port of Mombasa to Nairobi every year. In 2015, the port of Mombasa handled nearly 30 million tons of cargo. 70% of that are goods destined for Nairobi, even though it is currently mainly transported by road.
Initially, we anticipate that when it's completed and launched, we shall take off 40% of all the cargo from the trucks to the SGR.
The old railway, referred to as meter gauge railway, has the capacity to ferry 5 million tons of cargo a year. But with a decades-long mismanagement, the utility of the service has declined over time. The SGR is estimated to ferry 4,000 tons of cargo per locomotive at a time, equivalent to 216 20-foot containers, while taking just 6 hours from Mombasa to Nairobi.
When you compare that to what the meter gauge has capacity to do, it can only do up to 37 containers, which is about 17 or 18 wagons. It is about 4 times higher.
The government hopes to achieve this by procuring 56 locomotives, the engines that pull passenger coaches or cargo wagons. 1,620 wagons for cargo transportation will be procured, while passengers will benefit from 40 coaches.
We are already expecting to receive the first batch of locomotives. Will be coming by 15th of January 2017, and with those we'll now start the works for testing and commissioning.
The target is to have 5 locomotives dedicated to passenger services, such that 4 trains will ply the Nairobi-Mombasa route daily, while reserving 1 locomotive for redundancy.
1 locomotive will pull about 6 coaches, And the capacity of that is anything up to 1,360 passengers. So you'll be able to move passengers between Mombasa and Nairobi within 4.5 hours, 1,300 passengers.
The old railway system currently ferries between 200 and 300 passengers from Nairobi to Mombasa, a trip that could last anything between 8 and 24 hours.
Because of the condition of the track and the fact that they are competing movements of freight trains, we've had challenges with the concessionaire providing a decent service.
From the air, the Chinese workmanship depicts order and precision, a rail track that was designed to take a uniform gradient for ease of maneuver by trains. As such, unlike the old track which has sharper corners, the SGR goes under or above roads to keep the slope. This is a section of the SGR in Makindu area. The construction load locomotive is returning from a delivery trip. Makindu will also serve as one of the 24 crossing stations for trains heading to different directions. During a stopover, locals tell of their experience seeing the project come up.
Mtambo ilianza, vijana wengi wakapata kazi, wakawa na shida na wana mahangaiko za hapa na pale.
Hapo Kiundwani walikuwa wamepanga kwamba pahali tulikuwa tunafukia hakuna daraja. Na wakaangalia na wakasema watu wa Kiundwani wanastahili wajengewe hiyo daraja. Hiyo daraja imekuza uchumi pande ile nyingine. Investors wameanza kuja kwa sababu access kupita kutoka Kiundwani kwenda across ambao kuna mashamba. Nimesikia kuna mradi wa shule ya private ambayo inaanzishwa hapo kando.
Mutinda is among hundreds of landowners who are paid 15 billion shillings to forfeit sections of their property and give pathway to the new railroad. Land spanning 4,500 hectares. He is, however, yet to collect his 7 million shilling offer for his 20 acres that were taken from his initial 45 acres.
Nikaanza mimi nizungumze kidogo manake niliona hela kama kidogo. Kwa sababu ile valuation niliona ilikuwa kama ekari moja ni shilingi 250.
The land compensation is part of the local benefits already reaped from the SGR flex. Local industries have been undoubtedly the bigger beneficiaries. The cement industry, for instance, has sold more than 600,000 tons to the contractor, equivalent to about 22.8 million 50-kilogram bags of special construction work cement. More than 150 million litres of diesel have been supplied, 65,000 tons of locally sourced steel, 339 locally sold vehicles, and 1.8 million cubic meters of sand.
Kenyans, you see the benefit very, very quickly. And already, even before the project is completed, we can see the benefits. If you drive all the way from Mombasa to Voi, Emari, Nairobi, you see the kind of industries already which are coming up.
The government further estimates direct employment to about 30,000 of casual laborers, engineers, and other staff. Among these are tens of young professionals who have been lucky to attend training in China to improve their skills.
I've got the skills already in China na sitaki hiyo uchuzi yangu ipotee huku. So nataka nitumie hapa niwasaidie watu hapa kwa station.
As part of the program, they agreed to train about 100 engineers, Kenyan engineers.
Okay.
The first batch of 25 is already in China. Sorry, 35 is in China.
The spectacle at the Mombasa terminal station is worth a keen eye. Here is a unique point where rail transport meets the trucks on the road, next to the seaport of water transportation. Next to all these facilities is the Moi International Airport of Mombasa. The Mombasa terminal will serve passengers arriving or departing, the architectural works invested here standing out from all the other 8. Several rail trucks head into the seaport that now has 22 berths. The intention is to load cargo wagons with containers and other forms of loaded stores upon clearance.
This is fairly a game changer from the, it's a whole bouquet of services. So from the cargo owner, how you get to pay for your cargo, for example, that's an arrangement that we are securing with KPA, how they pay. So KPA collects for us and remits to our bank accounts. The rest of the cargo will enter into a system where the customers are able to pay to the operator, and the money goes to the accounts of the corporation and after that, then the service is provided.
Any cargo that leaves the port without clearance is said to be processed at the internal container depot in Syokimau, Nairobi. So if you want to take a ride to Mombasa, I have to wait until December 2017.
I think planned rides and planned excursions will still be there. What will not be there is now getting a commercial operator to say now operate this thing. Okay. We shall still be moving people from Mombasa to Nairobi, but in a more organized manner. Okay. But commercial operations will be December.
All right. Let's in more detail focus on that, because when you go to different countries, you'll see that the train system is operated by a certain company, which is most of the time publicly owned. How are you planning to do it here in Kenya?
We have put a lot of thought into that issue, because that you define the success or failure of this project. Sure. Having spent 327 billion shillings, we do not want to risk an operation which fails, because then you'll be asking us, why did you have to spend 327 billion shillings?
As such, the contractor, the China Roads and Bridges Corporations, will in March 2017 sign an agreement with the government to manage the SGR for a period of between 5 and 10 years, a commercialization period that will begin in January 2018. In 4 years' time, the project is set to enter the profitability lane.
Upwards 4 years, it should be able to pay for its loan obligations. It should be able to leave a surplus, which should then help us to continue the development of the rest of the phases and maybe leave a surplus to enhance the railway services.
The SGR project is one of the flagship projects of the Jubilee administration and faced challenges in the early years, with different political quarters terming it as a rip-off. Some even suggested it would have been better to enhance the current meter gauge railway system.
So even if you spend so much money on the current railway, you'll still be left with a meter gauge, which globally it is not competitive in terms of the speed, in terms of the weight they can carry, and so forth. So eventually you would have to do standard gauge.
Yeah. But then again, critics say that it is not really the latest technology that is being operated in the world. Some people say that it is even bigger than 2-meter gauge railway.
Well, you really have to start somewhere. Before you get into a jumbojet, you must get into a 787. Sure. And where we are now is, in Africa, this is the best you can get.
Critics have also accused the government of exaggerating the cost for a 472-kilometre route that cost almost equal amount with Ethiopia's 750-kilometre SGR network.
We need to clarify a few issues. The first one is that our train is actually what we call class 1. For Ethiopia, it's class 2. So there's a big difference. And the difference because of the weight of the train. Ours, we have capacity to carry a lot more weight compared to the one from Ethiopia. And the speed as well, it will be faster.
The government intends in the next 2 years to extend the SGR service to the Jomo Kenyatta International Airport while enhancing the current railway system to encompass an improved city commuter service. The construction of the second phase of the SGR is also on a 120-kilometre line connecting Nairobi to Naivasha. This is the beginning of a 5.3-kilometre tunnel at Mbulbul that will pass underground through the Ngong Hills, drilled by this machine and later built and reinforced with steel.
Natarajia sana na manake tunangojea sana, tunajua sasa iko karibu ifunguliwe, tuanze kusafiri Nairobi na passenger ile ambaye ni jipya.
Na labda watoto wangu, manake wengine wako university, wakimaliza shule labda watakuwa wakifanya kazi Nairobi alafu warudi nyumbani, walale nyumbani. Nafikiri ule mradi kama vile tumeahidiwa, kama utakuwa namna hiyo, itakuwa kwa manufaa.
Hundreds of kilometers later, and the infrastructure is evidently on the ground, the next step will focus on commercializing the project in a manner that gives sense to the multi-billion spending and in essence deliver the promise made to Kenyans. For Citizen TV from the Savo River Bridge of the Standard Gauge Railway, I am Sam Gituku.